Welcome everyone to the first ever showcase of the fully released, fully finished, fully optimized, definitely never going to get updated again, ever SCUR, Scalaber's Custom Universal Resources. This is the base pack for my upcoming pack, if that makes any sense. There's going to be a default resource pack which I'm showing to you guys today, and then add-on packs which will be added on in the future. Now, none of the add-on packs will be showcased in this video today, but if you would like to see more information about those, I'm sure that'll be coming in the very near future. So without further ado, we do have quite a lot of things to go through today. It looks like it goes quite far into the distance. It's probably about 5 or 6 times the distance that we see on screen right now. There are a lot of things to go through. So I am going to put my recording software on here so I know how long the video's been. Because I don't want to go into 50 minutes, like a 50-minute showcase video. No one's going to watch that. So I'm going to try and make this as fast as I possibly can. So without further ado, first of all, we have granite, diorite, and andesite. And both granite and diorite have been polished up and cleaned to look equally as clean as andesite, if that makes any sense. Because I know that a case with many people who play Minecraft with these 3 blocks usually choose to go with andesite over diorite or granite, simply because granite has a bunch of specks in it and diorite looks like absolute crap. And I mean crap. People do refer to it as bird poo, as that's what it literally looks like in default Minecraft. But now all 3 of them are equally clean, if you can see what I mean there. So we kind of have just a granite coloured block, a white coloured block, an andesite grey coloured block, if that makes any sense. So all 3 of these are now valid for use in terms of just defaulting to andesite every time, because it's the cleanest and most nice looking one of the 3. Moving on from that, we have grass, dirt, podzol, snow, whatever it would be. These usually have little grey dots in them there. Those have all been removed from every single type of grass / dirt in the game. So the grass, all removed. The coarse dirt, all removed. Podzol, snow, mycelium, grass path. Yeah, it's called grass path, isn't it? Yeah, grass path, there we go. All been removed. All the little grey dots, pebbles have all been removed. And with every single one of these blocks, the actual grass itself has been brought down the block by about 3 pixels there. So you can see podzol comes further down, snow comes further down, mycelium comes slightly further down, and path also comes slightly further down as well, just to make it look a little bit more nice on the side there. I mean, if you ever see a comparison side by side of this grass and the default grass, the difference is quite big. It doesn't look very big here, but it is big when you see them next to each other. Moving on from that, we have jungle wood planks, as you can see here. These are all now a slightly more shade of orange as opposed to pink, because same story with the andesite, granite, and diorite. I find that with these blocks being pink, no one ever really uses them. Because they don't really, not because they're pink, not because, oh, boys don't like the colour pink, they like the colour blue, and they like guns and tanks. No, the whole point of this being pink, right, is it doesn't fit in with anything. It doesn't fit with any other colour in the game. Like, if you're going to build one thing pink, the rest of it has to be pink. You should be using pink glass, and the pink glass doesn't look anything like, I mean, that's magenta, but the pink glass doesn't look anything like the pink. It's just a really unique, weird, like, almost flavour of pink, if that makes any sense. And I've decided to just make it orange, make life easier for everyone. It's orange now. So there we go. Bedrock. This has been nicked from Coterie Craft. Brilliant bedrock texture. Absolutely love it. It's been in my pack for about 3 years, if not longer. Glass. All the glass has been changed, as you can see here. The default glass has had all the streaks removed from the middle of it. White glass, orange glass, magenta, blue, yellow, green, all of them have all had their streaks removed. And the coloured glass now are just a single solid frame going around the edge with a completely blank space in the middle. Moving on from that, bricks are a little bit more random. I might make these more random in the future, but I did say I was never going to update the pack again, so we never know. But yeah, bricks, as you can see here, all different coloured bricks, as opposed to every single brick being the exact same colour. I think it looks much better. Ice and packed ice, same story as glass. All the little streaks there have not been removed, but been really massively toned down. So originally these little lines that you can see here would be bright white. They've all been made see-through, so ice looks a little bit nicer now. So you can actually use ice in builds much more effectively. Same story with packed ice. The white streaks have been just kind of dimmed, if that makes any sense. Nether brick is all completely black. Not much to say there. Quartz is much brighter. Recently, Minecraft added into the game this block called the bone block, as you guys can see there. Now, when the bone block first came out, people were raving over it because it was actually nicer than quartz. And again, this justifies my change even more so, because something as rare as quartz should be nicer to build with than bone, which you can get from a skeleton farm. You can find bone underground. There's so many easy ways of getting bone. Quartz is a much more difficult to farm resource, and as a result, I've made it so that the quartz blocks are incredibly nice. They are very clean. This entire palette here is pretty much just white. There's like virtually no variation to this whatsoever. So just white basically, which is nice to see. Pattern quartz, again, 2 colours on this one instead. It's got white and grey. Big variation there. And the pillar quartz as well is just made to look a little bit nicer as well, with a total of 4 colours. Grey, lighter, lighter grey, white, just to make it look like a little bit more pillar, if that makes any sense. Again, completely white, applies to the stairs and the slabs as well. Moving on from that, we have Prismarine. Now, initially, you can't actually see any difference with Prismarine, but if I was to wait here for long enough, then you would eventually see this turn from different shades of blue, purple, green, turquoise, and right now it's a very light shade of blue, but it will go to dark blue, it will go to like a nice purpley green, and it has many different colour stages. You can see that it's going a little bit more yellow now, as you can see as well. So the original Prismarine, as you guys know, does change colour as well, but mine changes colours which are slightly more similar, so they're slightly closer to each other. So basically, if you try and build a build out of Prismarine, which is mostly green and blue, in a few hours' time when it turns purple, the build won't be purple, it will still look like a nice shade of green, but it's just got a little hint of purple in it instead. So it makes Prismarine a much more easier block to build with as well. Moving on from that, we have the resource blocks. We have coal, iron, gold, redstone, lapis, diamond, and emerald. And diamond has been changed, as you can see there. Diamond looks much, much nicer now. Again, I've explained this, I feel like I've explained this like 5 times now in different videos across the times. But when Minecraft was first released, we had iron, we had gold, we had lapis, and we had diamond. Redstone, coal, and of course emerald were all introduced at a later date. And originally, all 4 of these blocks had the exact same texture, which was this texture that the gold block now has. Now, yeah, that applied to iron, that applied to lapis, that applied to diamond. Later on, lapis was changed, and lapis has been changed about 4 or 5 times now. But they never changed diamond. Iron has been changed now, so it looks like it's made of bars, which I think makes sense for an iron block, looks good. But then diamond was never changed. Diamond always shared the same texture as gold, but in my opinion, if iron and gold are both ingots in their, item form, as you can see, they're both ingots, then shouldn't they both have this pattern? And if so, why would gold and diamond have the same pattern? Because diamond are gems and gold are ingots, so why would they share the same texture? Makes no sense in my mind. So I changed the diamond around so it looks like just a huge gradiented diamond. I think it looks quite nice. Water is lighter. All fire looks different. The torch, as you can see here, has a little grey brazier, which I think is nice, and it has this little orangey yellow gradiented flame, which is nice. Fire has also been changed, so it's no longer reddy orange, it's more yellowy orange to match the colour of the flame. If I was to put some items in this furnace here, if I get myself some iron ore and some some coal, there we go, and I put this in here, you can see that the furnace has the exact same change, where it's been changed to more of like a yellowy orange as opposed to a reddy orange, which the fire was previously in the game, which I think is a much more nice colour for fire. Ladders are 3D. End rods are completely white, the completely white pipe there, and also the base is white now. So again, same story as andesite, same story as prismarine, same story as quartz. It makes it nicer to build with, to be honest, because when you have an item which is this nice and this versatile, it's a torch that can be put on anything. I love it. When part of it's purple, it just sort of ruins it. So if the entire thing's white, it makes the whole thing a neutral colour, makes it much easier to work with. Moving on from that, we have terracotta, as it's called in the pack. And all these ones that you can see on here have been changed ever so slightly. The main goal here was A, to make it so that all terracotta blocks had 3 colours maximum, and I'll explain that in just a moment, and also B, to make sure that no weird non-fitting pictures were kind of in Minecraft, if that makes any sense. So first of all, in terms of the 3 colours thing, this one white terracotta originally had shades of orange, white, blue, yellow, and it was mad. It was there was too much going on in one block, so I've toned it down so it's just combinations of white, yellow, and orange. So it makes it kind of a much easier block to work with as well. Same story with this one, with the orange glazed terracotta. I think it was actually blue again, like a light blue cyan colour. So originally it had shades of orange, shades of brown, shades of different, a different tone of orange, and also blue in the corners as well. Again, I've removed the blue, so it's also brown, so now we have brown, orange, and slightly lighter orange as well. Moving on from that, we have purple. This is what I was talking about in terms of removing weird shapes from Minecraft. As you guys may know, the orange glazed terracotta in Minecraft has a huge arrow on it, and I don't know what the fuck they were thinking when they thought of putting that in, because it doesn't fit the game at all, so that's been removed. Moving on from that, same story with lime glazed terracotta. This originally was a nice lime colour, a really nice one there, but it had bits of yellow in it as well, and no one likes building with yellow, to be comparatively honest. If you're going to build with yellow, it has to be very, very specific. So I simply removed the yellow, so it's just all shades of green now, which I think looks much nicer. This had creeper faces on it, same story as the purple terracotta. Why would there be a creeper face on a block in this game? Makes no sense. It literally just doesn't make any sense at all. Same story with brown. This originally had orange and blue in it as well, but I've made it all so that it's just shades of brown and shades of really, really like a grey, dull blue, if that makes any sense. So that, again, much nicer to work with in my opinion as well. With the glass, same story as the full glass blocks. All of the glass panes here have been changed around to suit the same texture. I mean, they all technically use the same texture as the glass, so it makes sense that they'd all be the same, if that makes any sense. Pistons, this is taken from Zasuma Void's vanilla tweaks. The piston usually For example, if you usually just have a sticky piston and look at it from this angle, it would look exactly the same as a regular piston. But sticky pistons in the pack now have sticky on the side as well, if that makes any sense. So essentially, when you're looking at a piston from this angle, you can tell whether it's sticky or non-sticky without having to look at the front of it, because that's the only texture that changes in default Minecraft. Torches, redstone torches in particular, have been changed. Simply match the handle or the stick or whatever it would be of the default torch, because my default torch has a change handle, so the redstone torch should really have a changed one as well. Observer no longer has a face because that was ridiculous. In terms of doors, the phallic door is no longer phallic, it just has two very straight lines in it, which I think is much better. And the iron door only has a very tiny see-through port there, so it looks like it's very much more fortified than any of the other doors. Originally, the iron door shared the same texture as the wooden door, but obviously with it being grey, so it has the same 4 square windows. I think it makes much more sense if you have an iron door with one single peepee hole window there that you can kind of look through if you want to see what's on the other side. Otherwise, it's very, very fortified. It looks like you can't break through that door very easily, which is good. Moving on from that, we have 3D rails. These were stolen from someone else's pack, I can't remember who, but I have modified them quite a bit myself, so I think it's justified in putting them in here again. And these are part of a 3D resource pack, if that makes any sense. Now again, this is the same story as with the ladders, which I showed you down there. In my opinion, I feel like the things like this in Minecraft should actually be 3D, because when they're just kind of flat lay against the ground like rails usually are, I think it looks a bit crap. So by doing this, again, it adds a different variation to the game. I think it just looks much, much nicer, and it hugely improves the experience there if you're going to want to build things with rails and such as well. Nether portal's been changed, just a custom one that I designed. I think it's quite nice, just looks different to the default one. Boats. All the boats have been changed slightly, but only on their image picture here. Usually the boats' images of the little, what would usually know, what's it, a shovel when the game was first released. I thought that when the paddles go onto the boat in real life, they look square like that. They don't look like a shovel. If you get a shovel out, for example, a wooden shovel, you see it looks like it's got kind of like a rounded tip, if that makes any sense, like a rounded bit there, and that matched the same in the picture here. But in real life, they look square, so I went for a kind of a halfway point, and they're kind of rounded, but very much straight at the end as well. To match the rails that we have in the model form there, those actually don't translate over to item textures automatically, so I simply designed my own custom item textures and just made them entirely based off of those pictures there. So those 4 pictures there are actually completely original, my own design. Didn't steal those from anywhere. They are based off of those textures there, because they don't actually create item textures, they just create real-world model textures. So you see if I can hold that in my inventory there, it gives me the rail texture like that, and if I place it in the world, it gives me the rail model. 2 different things there. It's kind of difficult to explain, but you guys get the idea. Moving on from that, lava buckets are animated. Just think it looks cool. Ender pearls are animated, they just swirl a bit. This is taken from Blocksmith Hybrid Pack. Very, very good pack, I do recommend checking that one out as well. Nether bricks, obviously black. Makes sense, obviously, because the nether bricks are black in real life. Iron nuggets are sometimes like that in the vanilla pack for some reason. I don't know why the game seems to think this is okay, but gold nuggets were facing upwards like that, and iron nuggets were lazy. Don't know why that makes any sense. That means that makes literally no sense, so just make them both the same. Shulker boxes are more defined. The outing of them, the edges and the outlines are darker shades of purple, so it looks more like a box as opposed to just a blob, basically. Moving on from that, more Blocksmith hybrid textures. We have the fish, as you can see here. Let you guys look at those for a second there, because there's some quite cool animations that go on. See the pufferfish goes huge and goes tiny, which I think is good. Rotten flesh always has flies circling around it, which I think is pretty good. But just to clarify, with the fish there, with both the cod and the salmon, when you cook those, they no longer animate because they are dead, because that makes sense. Wonderful. Moving on from that, diamond and iron tools have a slightly different texture on them, which makes them look a little bit nicer than the usual dotty gradients that you get with the default packs. It's just a nice, clean gradient, as opposed to the dot pixels inside each texture, apart from the axe, which has 2 dots there, which makes sense because that's where the handle goes. Iron's the same, just looks nicer in my opinion. Bows are slightly changed. It's a very, very subtle change, but they actually are based off of recurve bows now, as opposed to short bows, which they are in vanilla Minecraft. If you guys know anything about archery, there are multiple types of bows that you can use. There's long bows, recurve bows, short bows, arch bows. There's a load of different type of bows you can use, and it's all based on what the arms here actually do. In the default game, the arms just kind of go back, just like a curve, like an arc like that, and that's called a short bow. But what I've got here is a recurve bow, because it kind of curves backwards and then recurves out again. Kind of makes sense if you think about it. And when I do archery in real life, that's the kind of bow I like to use, so that's the bow we have. The enchantment glint has been changed ever so slightly. It's just red now, and it's much nicer on the eyes. Makes sense. Arrows have all been completely overhauled. The spectral arrow has a black shaft and... Oh, I can't believe I just said that. Don't quote me on that. A black stick and gold tip and also a gold feather at the bottom as well. And this makes more sense when you consider how arrows work in the game. If I fire myself a spectral arrow, let's have a look here. It's going to look like that in real life as well. So the item model is changed both on the item and also in game as well. So when the arrow actually gets fired, it also looks like that as well. All the potion arrows have been changed around as well. For some reason, the potion arrows in the default game have a tipped colour head, a tipped colour bottom, and then like 3 dots on the outside. And quite frankly, I have no idea why. Makes more sense if you just took an arrow and dipped it in whatever poison it would be. So dipped it in. Is that poison? That's leaping. That one's poison, right? Yeah, that one's poison. It makes more sense if you would have taken an arrow, just a default Minecraft arrow, and just tipped only the head in whatever it was that you were enchanting it with. So I think that makes more sense. So it just, it looks nicer in my opinion. Shields have windows. Pretty simple change, really. Just think it makes it look a lot nicer and takes up a lot less of your screen when you're holding it up like this. You can just look through it if you want to, which is good. The Totem of Undying is actually not the Totem of Undying. It is a different item entirely, because I think the Totem of Undying is one of the worst textures in the game that Minecraft has ever added. I just look at it and I think it looks crap. So instead we have Totem of Undying, which I think looks quite nice. It's based on an apotropaic gem, which is from Greek mythology, I do believe, and it's to do with a gem that helps you get through the afterlife with putting these eyes over your eye, putting these stones that look like eyes over your eyes. It can actually be seen in Game of Thrones, actually, if you guys watch Game of Thrones. So whenever there's someone dead in the the crypt or whatever it would be, and they're lying on the the plate or whatever it would be, and then there's like a funeral going on, they always have these gems over their eyes, and that is actually a reference to the same mythology that I'm referencing in the pack here, because it's something to do with helping you through to the afterlife. And I've no idea what the fuck it is, but since the Totem of Undying stops you from dying, kind of makes sense. So I'm just going to roll with that. Moving on. Oh my god, I'm running out of oxygen. Moving on from that, we have item models. The cauldron and the flower pot now look 3D in the inventory, which I think is a very, very nice change. There's no particular reason for them to look 2D in the inventory at all, so I think this is just a nice update, considering that when you look at the cauldron in the pack in your inventory, usually it's just a flat, crappy texture, which looks like a blob. Now you can actually see the physical cauldron in what it would look like in game, which I think is a much, much nicer way of doing it. Armor stands have arms. For those of you who play Quark a lot, obviously this makes sense. I usually do play with Quark when I'm playing Minecraft, so this makes sense for me usually. But I think it also just makes more sense because you actually can spawn armor stands in Minecraft with arms as well. Just takes a little bit of coding there as well. End crystals look not like nether stars because it makes absolutely no sense that end crystals look like nether stars in a glass box. I understand the glass box because there is glass, but when did an end crystal ever look like a nether star? It looks nothing like a nether star, so that's been changed around. From the doors, same changes as with the phallic door. There, you see the phallic door has 2 lines in the item texture as well, so it's just kind of conformity to match up there. Same with the iron door. Iron door is just one big texture, but with the small window cut out, just like it is in the game as well. Moving on from that. Potions have slightly different textures as well. Since glass had its little streaks removed, so did the glass bottles. Glass bottles are now completely clear, and the potion texture which goes in them is completely clear as well. Looks much nicer in my opinion. Moving on from that, some of the music discs have been changed. Now, this is a weird one. This is probably one of my favourite kind of quirky changes in the entire pack actually. But this right here is actually record number 13. This right here is actually cat. And this right here is actually chirp. But they've all been changed around, and we'll approach more into that in just a moment there. But just to let you know so far, in terms of textures, those are the textures that have been changed for 4 of the records. These 2 at the end, by the way, here, these actually haven't been changed. These are the same default textures that you usually find in vanilla Minecraft. It's only these 4 that have been changed. But I just wanted to showcase all 6 of these because there is something quite neat with those that I'll showcase for you in just a moment. You guys may have already figured it out, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, I'll showcase that in just a moment here. So moving on from that, we're now going to start on some of the more radical changes to the pack, which are quite crazy. Starting first of all with the sky, which you guys have been looking at for the entire episode. This is called Dramatic Skies. Again, I have taken this from someone else, and I will give them the appropriate credits as expected. But this is in the pack because I think this is an absolutely breathtaking sky. I think it just looks amazing. And the thing I wanted to showcase here as well was actually the sun. I actually designed this sun. I didn't steal this from anywhere. I designed it, but it's essentially just a circular sun, and you also get a circular moon as well, which is kind of the same story. The hell's that line? There's like a line. Oh, well, that's a meteor. Right, yeah. So I also added some other things to the night sky. I actually forgot to showcase these, but the time set things reminded me. Occasionally, when looking up at the night sky, shooting stars will fly across the heavens. I think it looks pretty sick. I'm going to do game rule, do daylight cycle. true, you're going to see that shooting star fly across the screen like that. And if I do time set just a little bit before 1800 as well, so time set 1700 90 50, we're going to see the shooting star fly across the screen like that. That is really nice, man. I couldn't think of a good way of showcasing that, but there it is. So I'm going to do the game rule set to false once again. I'm going to set the time back to day so we can showcase everything properly as well. Brilliant. So the text has all been changed. Looks much, much nicer. It's just kind of like a 3D kind of, I don't know, I want to say unlimited pixel art type thing there, but usually the pixel text in Minecraft is like limited to a 16-bit style like everything else is, but I think if anything should breach the 16-bit factor in Minecraft, it should be the text. So these are all HD letters basically. This is just HD text is all I'm going to call it. So moving on from that, we also have armor. Now none of the armors have actually been changed except for leather, which has had all the brown bits removed. As you can see here, as you guys probably know, you can actually dye leather armor in Minecraft to any colour you'd like it to be, any of the 16 colours in the game. And usually when you dye them, you usually have little brown sections on them, which makes sense when you think about the way that the dyeing system would work, but I just don't like it. So all the brown overlay pieces for the leather armor have been removed. So if you dye leather armor now, it will just be completely coloured appropriately, which I think is much, much nicer as opposed to the brown spots which you get instead. Moving on from that, we have sounds. This is an interesting one. So occasionally when you open or close any of the 7 doors in Minecraft, half the time, 2 out of 4 times, it will play an old sound, which I think is really nice. Actually, I think it's like a. The thing is, right, when I started playing Minecraft, it was probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and when I first played the game, that's the sound that doors had. And I like it. I still kind of like it to this day. So I'm going to keep that in as like a little tiny nostalgia boost there. So half the time whenever you open or close a door, it will play the old sound instead. So to match the changed picture for the Totem of Undying, it also plays a new sound as well. I'm going to turn my master volume up for you guys here so you can hear it properly. Double the sound. That's the Totem of Undying. When the dragon dies, it plays a sound which is actually taken straight from a movie. If you guys know what movie this is taken from, then you are just as big a nerd as I am, and I love this sound. So this is the sound that plays when the dragon dies. Personally, I think it's a much more epic sound than the usual place when you usually kill the dragon, which is a bit pathetic and a bit of a buzzkill in my opinion. When you're fighting the dragon, it just dies and goes so yeah. Slightly better sound for the dragon dying. I'll play it one more time actually. And again, if you guys know where that one's from, it's a movie. It's from a movie. I'm sure you guys can guess what movie it's from. It's not exactly difficult to figure out. So if moving on from that, we have Enderman sounds. First of all, a little bit of a warning here. If you guys are susceptible to horror movie stuff or horror things, then the Enderman sounds have all been changed to Slenderman sounds, which they are clearly based off. When you first stare at an Enderman, that's the sound it makes. The sound that plays when you stare at Slenderman in the Slenderman games. And occasionally when he screams, because they scream when they run up to you and they kind of open their mouths and they scream as loud as they can. Again, half the time when they scream, it will play the default scream sound, but the other half the time when they scream, so the other 2 out of 4 of the sound files, it will play sounds from Slenderman. So occasionally, there you go, we'll get a drum beat and the Slenderman backing music will start to kick in, which I think is just really cool. Just really, really nice. And occasionally we'll just get a single drum beat without the sound, which is intentional. Just the drum beat. Just the drum beat. And there's the soundtrack kicking in the second one. So there you go. So occasionally you will actually get the Slenderman sounds coming into play when you're fighting an Enderman, which I think makes it incredibly cool. Moving on from that, here back to the records that I showcased to you before. Again, record 13 has been changed to C418's Area Math. Cat has been changed to Dog, which actually plays when Cat finishes, which is just a much better version of Cat in my opinion. Chirp, which is one of the most crap records in the entire game in my opinion, has been changed to Haunt Muskie, which in my opinion is one of the best soundtracks that C418 has ever made. So from one of the worst soundtracks to one of the best soundtracks, I think is pretty good. Melohai, again, another shit one. Sorry, C418, some of your music is just not good. Some of it's great, but some of it's just not good. And this has been changed to his remix of the Stranger Things theme tune, which by his definition there is called Stranger Thing. So if you guys want to go search up what Stranger Thing is, you can search for it on YouTube, on SoundCloud. It's pretty easy to find, and of course you can listen to that. It's actually a really, really neat cover of the Stranger Things intro made by C418. Same guy who made all the music for Minecraft. Nice little thing there. Got Sweden in. Sweden is the classic Minecraft soundtrack that everyone recognises. If you hear this song, you know what game it is. And in addition to that, the crumbled up black record, which looks like a crumbled up version of the previous one, is a remix of Sweden, which I think is pretty cool. And that remix is done by Caution and Crisis. So thank you, Caution and Crisis. Now, I'm not going to play any of those records in the video for risk of getting the video taken down because that does happen. It does happen quite a lot. So again, if you guys want to go listen to these, you're more than welcome to download the pack and listen to them yourself, because for some reason that's absolutely fine. Nice one, internet. Good job. Moving on from that, more sounds. Bows. Bows make the old sound. But everything else, such as snowballs, eggs, ender pearls, ender eyes, they all make the new sound, as you can hear there. This is due to a JSON file which basically dictates what the bow sounds are. So if a skeleton fires a bow, it actually plays the new bow sound, but when a player fires the bow, it always plays the old sound, which I think is quite nice, because again, I'm a bit of a nostalgia freak myself. Again, old sounds for the door, old sounds for the bow. I just quite like it. But again, just in order to make sure that the other items aren't corrupted, because personally I think some of the new items sound a bit stupid with the old bow sound. So yeah, again, snowballs, ender pearls, ender eyes, all of them still have the new sound, which I think is good. So, moving on from this point, for any of the other textures I show you today, which is still about half of the pack remaining, you guys will need Optifine. If any of these features are used in the pack and Optifine isn't installed, they won't work correctly. Or some of them may work, but they just won't work in the correct manner, if that makes any sense. So if you want the absolute full potential of this pack, download Optifine, install it for the most latest version of Minecraft, and you'll get all these features as well. Otherwise, everything I've shown to you so far, that is essentially unmodded SCDT, but if you install Optifine, this is the stuff that you now get. So, moving on from that, we have these double slabs here, and again, when you use stone slabs to make two, you get a different texture, which I think makes more sense, because usually in default Minecraft, when you put two of these half slabs on each other, it creates like what looks like two slabs, which makes no sense, because it would make sense that the entire block looks like one block, which I prefer. Sandstone and red sandstone are both slightly changed, so that when you use slabs as a double slab, you get kind of an inverted version of default sandstone. So the top texture is on the side, and the side texture has been kind of changed around a bit and put on the top. So basically, if you want to have inverted sandstone, put two slabs together and you get this as opposed to this. Now, I know some people will say that for the this side texture here, you can use this sandstone. Well, personally, I don't feel like this is actually as smooth as this. So this is kind of like an even more smooth variant if you want to use that as well. Same applies to red sandstone, literally exactly the same rule. Pretty simple. Moving on from that, black nether brick. This is inspired entirely from iScal, who actually inspired me to do the black nether brick as well. I didn't steal his black nether brick textures, I just simply made all the nether brick textures grayscale, which did exactly the same thing. But if you put two slabs on top of each other, you get this new texture. That's literally all it is. It just gives you a little bit more variation when you're using black nether brick, because you now get this kind of square texture as well, which I quite like. Quartz, same story again. Usually with quartz you have default quartz, you have chisel quartz, and you have the quartz pillar. Now you also have quartz tiles. Now these aren't actually called quartz tiles, it's just a quartz double slab, but that's what I'm calling it. Quartz tiles, I think they look really, really nice. I think you're trying to make a modern build, or if you're trying to build realistic like some people do, like if you're making a bathroom or a kitchen, these look really, really sweet and very fitting. Moving on from that, oh, hello. Again, I have some name changes there, which are all implemented by my custom language, which is called Sklang. As you can see there, Sklang. It can be found under English, Scalaber's language, or slang, but with a K. I don't know. You interpret that the way you want. It's English, but it's Sklang as opposed to English from New Zealand or United Kingdom or Canada or Australia or the US. And what this basically does is it changes around some of the items in the game, such as the discs. So obviously they're the right name now. So Area Math, Dog, Haunt Muskie, Stranger Thing, Sweden, and the Sweden Caution and Crisis remix. If you don't have this language selected, they will all show the wrong name, okay? And also flint and steel are also been changed to lighter now, because whenever I'm in the creative menu and I search for flint and steel, I always do lighter. And obviously it comes up with nothing. So I've changed the flint and steel name to lighter now, so it makes it a little bit easier to locate that in the inventory, in my opinion, as well. Moving on from that, we now have some CIT, which is custom item textures. If you rename chain, iron, gold, or diamond helmets to goggles, and specifically capital G, lowercase o, double G, L, E, S, no other variation has to be in that exact capitalization, that exact order, and that exact spelling, then your helmet will become goggles, which look like this in the real world. Now, there's no way of telling which one's diamond, gold, iron, or chain. They all look exactly the same in the inventory there. But again, in regard to what armor types they have there, they are still technically, for example, that one is still technically a diamond helmet, so it will have the maximum armor. That one's still a gold helmet, that one's still an iron helmet, that one's still a chain helmet. But for you, it will look like goggles instead, which I think is much, much nicer. And honestly, the only reason why I do this is because I don't like wearing helmets, okay? The only armor I like wearing in Minecraft is the boots. Literally just the boots. Because I think that, you know, it makes sense that you'd be wearing some sort of big boots. But when you put the helmet on, because you get things like aqua affinity and respiration, you look like an idiot. So I think the goggles make life a lot easier in terms of wearing a helmet and not looking like a dweeb. Moving on from that, in regard to the item textures, I already showed you guys the changed enchanted item glint there for, you know, books, sword, weapons, whatever it would be. But mending now also has its own unique texture, which is kind of a purple book. The red ribbon on the book has been changed to a shade of purple, and also the enchantment glint as well is slightly more purple and slightly different as well. So any item that has mending will now show up as having mending in the inventory. So essentially, if you're raiding end cities, or you're trying to look for the right tool in your inventory, you'll be able to see it quite easily because it simply has a purple glint as opposed to a red glint. Moving on from that, if you rename Diamond Sword to Smite, the Master Sword, or Bane, you'll get these three textures respectively. And again, this is a reference to SCDT version 1.9 when we had the you know, enchantments change item textures in. So essentially, if you had a Smite 5 sword, you get this texture. If you had Sharpness 5, you get this. And if you had Bane of Arthropods 5, you get this. Now, personally, I think it's quite obvious that everyone always goes for Sharpness 5, so everyone would just always have the Master Sword. So if you ever want to have Smite, the Master Sword, or Bane now, you can get those simply by changing the names. It doesn't matter what enchantments you have, you get them by changing the name now instead. And just to clarify, so you guys know how this works, put the Master Sword in there. If I want the Smite Sword, for example, I just have to rename it Smite. And there you go. Smite. Pretty easy. So in regard to the redstone there, the redstone has a slightly changed glint, as you can see there. The most powered up redstone is now brighter. The least powered up redstone is now more dim, which I think makes for a much more nice gradient when comparing the top to the bottom, which I think is just quite nice there as well. So moving on from that, we have CTM, which is Connected Textures for Minecraft. Or CTM actually stands for Connected Textures Mod, but it's not really a mod, it's more of a texture pack thing. And there you go. Sugar canes at the top will now have different heights, but only at the top, so it looks good. Pretty simple. Grass now all has different heights. Grass will all be completely random. So again, essentially you'll get some grass here which is like 2 pixels high, and you'll get some grass which is like the usual 6 or 7 pixels high, and this just makes fields filled with grass look a little bit more nice in my opinion as well. Vines now finish up with the same. It's a similar style to the sugarcane. When vines finish up here, they have a different ending as opposed to the other vine textures, which looks nicer in my opinion. Mushroom blocks are all completely random. You'll now find mushroom blocks with 2 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots, a different type of 4 dots, different type of 3 dots, and it just looks a little bit more random in my opinion, which I think is better. And it's the same story with these as well. These will occasionally have different orientations, different number of these kind of speckle things on them, and it looks quite good in my opinion. Moving on from that, as you guys would have seen before, the glass now has changed textures as well. So all the glass is connected like so, as you can see there. So again, whenever you form a large window of glass like that, it just creates a huge glass block, which I think is just a huge improvement on the default glass texture. This is 100% inspired from Tinker's Construct Quite Clear Glass, because as you guys may know, in Tinker's Construct, if you make glass in the smeltery, you get this basically, where when you put glass next to each other like so, you get this very clear glass which kind of links together, which is now just in default Minecraft if you have Optifine installed and my pack. Moving on from that, this is one of the weirdest changes I've ever made, but I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, and it actually works as well. So basically, whenever you've been underground in the past and found coal, gold, whatever it would be, next to granite, diorite, or andesite, it kind of just cuts off like immediately, and it looks kind of weird in my opinion. So now, basically, if you ever find any of the ore types in the middle of any of the other stone types, they will actually adopt the stone texture, so they actually look in place, as you can see there. And I think that is one of the most odd, but also one of the most satisfying changes I've ever made, because the amount of times I have found a cluster of redstone in the middle of a cluster of granite, and it looks so dumb because there's just a tiny bit of stone encasing the redstone in the middle of a huge pack of granite. That makes absolutely no sense. Now, unfortunately, this doesn't work for everything. As you can see there, iron ore looks completely invisible in the middle of the granite, which is a bit of a shame. But honestly, I think that should just be one of the downsides of having it like this. In theory, if iron ore was to form in granite, it would be more difficult to find, so it doesn't really matter. And again, it only sucks the texture from the half side of it, which is actually connected to that block. So if it's half connected to granite and half connected to stone, it will have this texture. Or obviously, if it's half connected to nothing, then it just retains the default stone texture as well. So there you go. Obviously, andesite doesn't look much different, but that's just because andesite and stone look similar. So, still wanted to add it though, just to make it 100%. So I think it's still definitely worth having in there. So moving on from that, sandstone and red sandstone once again have connected textures, and this is a top style connected texture. So any sandstone texture in the middle of a huge stack will have this texture on the side, and then the top one will have this kind of flat plate at the top as well, which makes sense. It's just a general kind of standard CTM thing, which I think is quite cool. So yeah, looks quite good. Moving on from that, we have the carved sandstone textures. As you guys may remember, in my old pack there, I used to have sandstone with this kind of like coloured indents for both variations of the regular and red sandstone, and that was completely random. It was completely random if you got, a coloured variant or the default variant. Now it is completely different. There is no randomness involved at all. If you placed 1 million of these, you would never once get any sort of black withers on them at all. Never once. Not possible at all. But the moment you put either of these textures on top of a smooth sandstone texture of the same variant, you'll get colour, which I think is quite cool. And this doesn't work for, it doesn't work the opposite way around. So if I get red sandstone and put that on top of it, not going to work. But if I put that on top of it, it's going to be black. And that will always happen regardless. So basically what this does is it means that if you're building with these blocks genuinely, then you can either control whether you have them uncoloured or coloured, and I think that makes building a lot more fun. And when you guys go and explore desert temples as well that will have these textures on them, half of the textures inside the desert temple will have this texture because they've got smooth sandstone under them by complete coincidence, and some of them will have the default texture because they just don't have smooth sandstone under them by complete coincidence. So again, I think it adds a little bit more variety to the sandstone temples as well, which again is really, really nice. Moving on from that, Jesus, I thought that was in real life then. It was about the cats. Okay, moving on from that, we have night vision. Night vision has been changed. So when you're in the daytime, night vision inverts the daytime, if that makes any sense. So if you use night vision when it's day, you kind of get the reverse effect. But the only upside is that if you use night vision in the day, any sort of unnatural light, so obviously the sun is natural light, but that gives you complete darkness, any unnatural light such as torches, glowstone, lava. Glowstone, torches, and lava, any sort of light from that will light up bright neon green, and there isn't really much practical use to this, to be honest. I think it's just a neat little thing, so yeah. If you use night vision in the day, you get kind of night mode, but you also get lime green lit up torches with a very small radius. I've no idea why. It's just interesting. And again, if I set it to nighttime as well, you can see that night vision does obviously just do its job correctly. You just get full vision of everything when it's nighttime. So there you go. Or you get neon green when it's daytime. So there you go. I'm going to clear my night vision effect there, and we'll back to normal. Brilliant. So moving on from that, we have a few other textures here. Oh, my mobs have despawned. I knew they'd despawn. Never mind. I'll spawn them again in a second. It's fine. So moving on from that, we have cats. As you guys may know, cats have 3 textures in the game. We have the black and white cat, we have the orange cat, and we have the Siamese cat. So again, is this called like the I don't know. They have names, don't they? Is it like black, tabby, and Siamese? I don't know. Anyway, and we also have a completely black cat in here as well now, which is a little addition I made. So essentially, if you guys don't know, I used to have, well, to be fair, I have a lot of cats. I've had a lot of cats over the last few years. And recently I had a cat who was very originally named Sooty, and unfortunately he died. He passed away, so I've put him in the game there as well. So we have Sooty in the game. So essentially the way this works is it's completely random once again. As opposed to when you get a cat, you get one of 3 textures, you now get one of 4 textures instead. And that is completely equally random, so it's 25% chance of each, as opposed to this guy having an absurdly high chance because of the way that random textures work. It is 25% chance for all 4 cats. So there you go. Moving on from that, we have creepers. Has my effect gone? Oh, my effect's gone because I used the milk. Effect, Excalibur, Strength, 100,000, 256. 255. So yeah, so now what we can do as well, we've got creepers. There we go. Eventually we'll get a creeper that has 4 faces, as you can see there. I'm actually just going to do that with true as well, so we get those particle effects gone. Good. Yeah, so we actually have a creeper now with 4 faces. This is a reference to one of my favourite mod packs of all time called Crash Landing. Again, this is a mod pack where you have to basically survive on a desert planet, and you get flooded with mobs every single night that are evil and horrible and want to kill you and eat your brains. And essentially, you'd occasionally get a creeper spawning which has faces on all 4 sides. And I thought that was a really neat idea. So essentially, every 10 creepers, you'll get 1 creeper that has 4 heads. And that is a reference to Crash Landing. Nice little thing there as well. 25% of the time, when a skeleton horse spawns, you'll get a zombie horse. This is just my way of adding zombie horses to the game a little bit earlier than the game wants to, apparently, because these horses have been in the game. They've had the texture file in the game now for like 3 years, and they're still not in vanilla Minecraft. I don't know why. So this is my way of adding them to vanilla Minecraft. 25% of the time, when you get a skeleton horse, it will be a zombie horse. So there you go. Moving on from that, we have slimes. See here, I'm going to break some of these so we get more of them as well. And slimes will now have a random colour, which is anything from green, turquoise, orange, but they're all like still, hello, go away, but they're still like close to green, if that makes any sense. So as you guys can see there, like there's a lot of different variation for slime colours, which I think is quite cool. It's just a neat little change, basically. And obviously the reason that I started doing this is because in Tinker's Construct, again, I've already mentioned about the glass. Tinker's Construct, one of my favourite mods of all time. You do occasionally get blue slimes, and these are now in vanilla Minecraft with my pack here. Moving on from that, we have spiders. Spiders will always have a slightly different colour of brown. So we've got brown there, we've got black, we've got grey, we've got red, we've got red again, we've got black again, we've got red, we've got brown, grey, and you get the idea. So basically, every time I spawn in a spider there, it will have 1 of 4 different textures. And the same applies to cave spiders as well. Cave spiders also have their own unique set of textures that they'll spawn in with as well. Moving on from that, we have wolves. Wolves now have the same thing as cats, where when you get a wolf, it will have 1 of 4 textures. We have a black Labrador, I think this is. We have a Shiba Inu, which is one of my favourite dogs because of the meme, as I'm sure you guys know. The Doge. We have Husky, again one of my favourite dogs in real life because they're really cool, and also German Shepherd dogs as well. So there you go. So we have 4 different variations of dogs. And again, this is the same story. There is a 25% chance of getting all 4 of these, so it's equally chance of getting all of them again. What are you guys doing? Go away. They're just here. I don't know why. A little bit more quiet now, which is good. Okay. Moving on from that, we have zombies. Zombies will occasionally have like blood on them, so that one's got bloody hands, as you can see. There's one that has like a blood on his chest. That's just a default one again. Blood on his chest again. Blood on his mouth. That's one of my favourite ones there. That's pretty cool. Looks like he's already eaten someone's brains. He's got blood pouring down his face. That's pretty cool. And we will very rarely get a zombie which has Herobrine eyes, but it is like a 1 in 100 chance, so I'm not going to sit here all day and just cycle through hundreds as a bloody hands again. So yeah, basically, very, very rarely you will find a zombie who has bright white eyes, and that is obviously a reference to Herobrine, who is, of course, removed in every single version of Minecraft. Moving on from that, get out my pond, you bastards. So many, I shouldn't have spawned so many slimes, man. Moving on from that, we have the last texture change of the entire pack. For now, we have squids. Slimes? Slimes are already here. Too many slimes, man. Squids. Squids will now have 1 of 4 random textures. Black, blue, cyan, and lilac as well. So there you go. And that's everything. And holy crap, this video is getting close to 45 minutes, so that was a very, very long, but hopefully very, very thorough showcase of everything this pack involved. And again, if you do want to download SCUR version 1.0, the download link is now up on my website, which is called SCUR's Projects. You can search by that, obviously, just on Google if you'd like to, or the link for the website will always be in my descriptions from now on after this video as well. So again, if you guys want to go download the pack, explore the most recent version of SCUR, previously known as SCDT, then you guys can go down to download it now. Version 1.0 is up for download. So again, just a quick reminder before you guys do go as well, everything that you've seen after this point you need Optifine for. So that's like at least half of the textures. At least half of the changes in the game you need Optifine for. Everything else is just an item or block change or sound change, which is again something you can do with vanilla Minecraft quite easily. So that's everything for me today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this ultimate showcase of the first version ever of SCUR. I have never made a video this long about my resource pack, so again, if you guys wanted to get every single bit of information about the most recent version, this is definitely the place to find it. So version 1.1 will be coming sometime in the future. I'll be making more changes down the line, no doubt. Little improvements, little tweaks that will change the pack just in tiny little ways. And again, if you guys want to get any more information about SCUR, that can all be found on my website as well. And for more add-on packs coming in the future, such as different records, different skies, different colours, a grayscale variant of my pack, for example, those will all be coming in the future, but there's no definite date of when those will be coming right now, because quite frankly, there's a lot to do. I have a lot of add-on packs I want to make, but for now, the base pack of SCUR, everything that you should have by default is all ready to go, all ready to download, all finished up. So if you guys want to go download that, again, third time I'm going to plug my website now. You can all be found on my website, which is Scowls Projects, and that can be found in the description below. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this ultimate showcase of my brand new, reformed and improved pack, and hopefully you guys will like it. And again, if you have any other suggestions for me about the pack, feel free to leave them in the description below, and I will definitely consider them for a future release. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care, have a very nice day, and bye-bye.